this video, now we are going to start about normal labor. So before we have understood all the terminology related with labor, now we are going to start with normal labor. So first what we need to see is how the labor is going to initiate. Okay, so initiation of labor. So during pregnancy, if you see, the uterus is in a growing size, right? So that means the uterus has undergone both hypertrophy and hyperplasia. Okay, so uterus is quiescent due to progesterone. So uterus is in growing size during pregnancy, and uterus is in quiescent stage, that is not going any labor during pregnancy time because of progesterone. So progesterone is making the uterus so fluffy, heavy, growing but quiescent. Why quiescent? Because now it should not have, during pregnancy it should not have any labor procedure like any contractions, right? So pregnancy is a progesterone predominant condition, very important point. So pregnancy is progesterone predominant. Okay, so during labor what happens is, during labor estrogen is predominant. Okay, so estrogen is the main hormone which is useful for labor. So how this estrogen is coming? It is coming, you know already that we are discussing in previous videos in maternal adaptations that our body it itself cannot form estrogen because of some lacking of different enzymes in the body, right? So the fetal CRH is very important. The fetal CRH, now in the body as a fetus is there, fetal CRH is responsible for initiation of labor. So actually at term what happens is, the fetal hypothalamic pituitary axis will get activated. As it will get activated from the fetal hypothalamus, you will get fetal CRH, and this CRH is cortico releasing hormone, right? So this will give an signal to pituitary. So pituitary will start releasing fetal ACTH, and this will go and act on our adrenal glands of fetus, and because of that there is main product, that is the fetal DHEA sulfate. So this will lead to formation of estrogen, and this estrogen will now initiate the labor. Okay, and not only this, from the adrenal gland you will get DHEAS. There is also cortisol which is releasing from the adrenal gland of fetus, and this cortisol will lead to activation of formation of placental CRH. So this placental CRH will in turn help in placental projection of estrogen. So now extra estrogen is coming from the placenta also. This will also of course increase more estrogen. Okay, and also stimulate the production of fetal cortisol, and also increase in number of prostaglandin, increase in interleukin 6, interleukin 8, and also further increase of cortisol from the fetus itself. So this is a whole process. So what you should understand is, progesterone is putting the uterus in quiescent stage, that is during pregnancy. So after pregnancy now fetus want to come out, so fetus is only saying to the mother, is sending signals by means of CRH. So by CRH fetus itself is increasing estrogen from the placenta, and also secreting DHEAS sulfate and increase estrogen. So now this estrogen will lead to initiation of labor. Okay, so remember, estrogen is the most common estrogen in pregnancy, especially in pregnancy, is E2 type, that is estradiol. Then what is the most common specific estrogen in pregnancy? That is estradiol. Okay, and the main source of estrogen is this one, fetal DHEAS, coming from fetal adrenal glands. Okay, so epiandrosterone sulfate, the full form is epiandrosterone sulfate. Okay, very important particle from the fetus leading to labor. So placental CRH also acts on the uterus. As we discussed, a placental CRH, it is secreting placental estrogen, so it is also indirectly acting on the uterus. So what this placental CRH is doing, let us understand now. Okay, so this will act on decidua. You know the growing uterus now is called decidua, pregnancy uterus row. So row, this decidua releases prostaglandin factor 2 alpha, PGF 2 alpha. So now there is also increase in oxytocin receptors in uterus because of this placental CRH. So placental CRH is releasing prostaglandin F2 alpha. It is increasing more number of oxytocin receptors in uterus. Oxytocin will also lead to contractions in uterus, right? And also increase in intracellular calcium. Calcium also will lead to contractions, right? So hence more contractions. So the fetus is only giving signals to the mother for the labor process. It is only increasing more in estrogen. It is only leading to increase in placental CRH. So this is in turn leading to increase in oxytocin receptors, increase in calcium influx, finally increase contraction. So increase estrogen receptors in uterus. So as estrogen receptors are increased in uterus, it will lead to more stretch receptors in uterus and decrease progesterone. Now the progesterone should decrease because the pregnancy is completed. Now we need to contract the uterus, right? So placental CRH releases PGE2 also, okay? So it also releases PGE2. So this is like a main factor releasing all the accessories which are required for labor. But the main one is estrogen, okay? So CRH releases PGE2 from the fetal membranes, oxytocin receptors and prostaglandin increase intracellular calcium. So finally lot of contractions are coming now. Okay, so now let us see about prostaglandins. Prostaglandins increase intracellular calcium, so increase contraction, and also they increase the myometrial gap junctions. So what happens if myometrial gap junction increases? They will lead to coordination of uterine contractions. So that is also in nothing but increase in contractions. So now let us see what is the process of ripening or softening. So ripening or softening of cervix. So why cervix is getting ripened or softened? It is nothing but it is increasing the water content in cervix. So as the water content is increasing, collagen breakdown, collagen is getting breakdown, and also there is decreased dermatin sulfate. Decreased dermatin sulfate and starts before true labor pain. So all this cervix is getting also ready for the labor, okay? And the events which are happening before onset of labor are, let us see, before onset of labor. What are the events? So those are lightning or welcome sign. So already we discussed this, that after 36 weeks of pregnancy the height of uterus will decrease. Mother will have less respiratory problems now because the uterus size has decreased, the height has decreased, right? So that is a lightning or welcome sign which is actually at the rate 36 weeks. And cervix ripening is also one of the sign, and even the false labor pain. So false labor pain also start, okay? So for labor to proceed, 3 P's are very important. What are those 3 P's? Let us see. P, P, P. So the first P is passage. Passage, that is pelvis should be normal, the passage should be normal. Another P is passenger, that is the fetus should be normal, right? Head, everything, okay? Pushes uterine contractions. So these 3 P's are very important for uterine labor. Now let us come to main part, uterine contraction. So uterine contraction, they begin this is like a pacemaker, they begin at cornua, very important, cornua angle of uterus, okay? That is right side greater than left side. So on both sides they will increase, but mainly they will increase on right side compared with left side. The cornua is the angle where this pacemaker means it itself will start, okay? So it is spreading to entire uterus at 2 centimeter per second. So spread 2 centimeters per second. So per second 2 centimeters the spread is going on. So entire uterus will get depolarized just within 15 seconds. So for 1 second 2 centimeters of spread is going on, means within 15 seconds the whole uterus will get depolarized. So the contractions are predominant over the fundus of uterus. So more contractions you can expect in fundus of uterus. So what we said, first it is going to start at the cornua angle, that is it's acting like a pacemaker, but the contractions are very much high, especially in the fundus of uterus, okay? So now let us discuss about some intrauterine pressures, okay? In short form you can call it as IUPs, intrauterine pressures. Okay, so during the Braxton Hicks contraction, it is less than 8 millimeters of mercury. Okay, so just remember in the order. Next, the contractions become palpable. When the contractions will become palpable, that you can feel them, right? That is at 10 millimeters of mercury, as it has increased the intensity. So first 8, next 10. Next the contraction become painful. You can get the pain and lead to dilation. Cervix also get dilated. Cervix. Okay, so that is when it is 15. You can see that as the contraction capacity, the power is increasing of the pressure, the pain, dilation, everything is same. Okay, so fundus cannot be identified by 40 millimeters of mercury. Fundus is not identified. That means that much contractions are coming. Okay, so first less than 8 millimeters of mercury, this is the intrauterine pressures. Okay, so intrauterine pressure when it is less than 8, that is called as Braxton Hicks contraction, means some slight contractions. If it is 10, then you can palpable, you can feel actually that yeah, your uterus is contracting. Okay, so when it is of 15, you will also start getting pain, and also the cervix will get dilated. So now you are going to welcome a child out. So when 40, you can see it is very intense, that you are unable to even find out the fundus at this time. So now coming to what is normal uterine contractions or true labor pains. So this is where our main topic starts. Okay, so uterus contracts in a coordinated manner. It leads to progressive dilation of cervix, and it leads to descent of fetal head. So progressively the cervix, so for example this is cervix, it is like this for example. Okay, so progressively the cervix is dilating and the head is also coming forward. Okay, so it has a priority. The upper part of the uterus contracts and the lower part relaxes. This is very important. Upper part will contract. So it's somewhat like peristalsis movement. As the foot is moving forward, here just the head of the baby is moving. That's it. So first the upper part will contract. So let me draw a diagram. So first upper part is contracting. Okay. Lower part is relaxing. That head is here. Again contracting. So head will move forward. Again relaxing. So relaxation is also equally important. Upper part contract. Lower part relax. Okay. So it leads to descent of fetal head. Contraction spreads from upper part to lower part, that is from fundus to lower part. It spreads, intensity decreases lower part, but here the intensity will drop because from the upper part more intensity to low intensity. Okay, so parameters of uterine contraction, the pressure during relaxation between the contractions is very important, and the basal tone of uterus, this is also a very important point. Basal tone of uterus. Okay, it should be less than 20 millimeters of mercury, and the peak pressure 80. So when the peak comes, head will come out, or I mean full body of fetus will come out. So the blood flow is inversely proportional to pressure. During contractions, the blood flow to fetus decreases. So blood flow inversely proportional to pressure. So I can see here the peak pressure 80 millimeters. At this peak pressure there is low blood flow for the fetus, right? So one thing you need to see, that's why relaxation is also important, because if there is more contractions and continuous contractions, then there will be fetal distress because low blood is reaching to the fetus, right? So this is very important. As a relaxation contraction is going on, even the relaxation is important. Okay, so during relaxation the fetus will get restored. Now coming to retraction. What is retraction? Retraction. The uterine muscle fiber on relaxation becomes shorter than original length. So for example, this is a higher length. If undergoes retraction, it will come to shorter length. Okay, and it will lead to dilation of cervix. You see, length is more, here length is short, but it will lead to dilation of cervix. Now let us see adequate uterine contractions. What is that? Adequate uterine contraction is 3 contractions in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, within 10 minutes, if you have 3 contractions, that is called as adequate contraction. and each contraction can last for about 45 seconds. Okay, 45 seconds each contraction, and the pressure is 65 to 75 millimeters of mercury, or 200 to 250 millivolts units, that is the intensity. Next, coming to tachysystole. With this we'll end this video. Tachysystole, that is if greater than 5 contractions in 10 minutes. Okay, what is hyperstimulation? It is a tachysystole cause fetal distress, that is a period of relaxation. As the period of relaxation is decreased in this tachysystole or hyperstimulation, so fetal may undergo distress. Okay, so what are the units for measuring the intensity of uterine contraction? You can use millimeters of microgram, or you can use Montevideo unit. What is this? Montevideo unit as the intensity of uterine contraction, that is millimeters per mercury into number of uterine contractions in 10 minutes. So this formula is important. So by this we completed. Next we'll start what is the pain in labor, how to relieve the pain, everything. Okay, in the second part.